Welcome to the What to Play podcast. I'm your host, Jacob. Lucas could not be here this week because of prior commitments. So, once again, we're going solo. We're going to try to get Lucas next week. Our schedules just haven't aligned so far. But we're going to talk about Lucas's New England Patriots. And what a win that was against the Buffalo Bills. Again, I had them winning by 10 points. I had the Bills winning by 10 points. I was like, there's no way the Patriots pull this off. There it is. The Bills, once again, were not able to play efficient football, turn the ball over, too many big mistakes. You can't ask Josh Allen to do everything. He led them in passing and in rushing. What is my biggest rule? You cannot ask your quarterback cannot be your rushing leader. You have James Cook, okay? He should be your lead guy in that department. You leaned on him for weeks, and now all of a sudden you didn't want him to play. This happened against New Orleans. This happens now against the Patriots. Get it together. Figure out this run game. Josh Allen can't be asked to do everything. Forget that. Just let him play football. Let him play the position he was born to play, which is quarterback. Let him play quarterback. He's got to stop trying to force the ball, stop turning the ball over. They fumbled way too much. They got to be better. The only way the Patriots would win this game is if the Patriots forced it to be a muck game, a muddy game. And the way I mean by that is force fumbles, force takeaways, force those offenses off the field, and then attack this Bills defense. What did they do? They forced fumbles. Josh Allen threw some interceptions, and next thing you know, downfield all the time against this against this Bills defense, I should say. That's a good job. And then when the Patriots defense was on the field, they made Josh Allen's life a living hell. They slowed down this run game. They had Josh Allen trying to throw deep, which I thought the pass defense was a lot better in this game. I thought they played really well. They forced, I call it controlled chaos, just trying to control but be as chaotic as possible, and that's going to cause issues for a quarterback. And that's what the Patriots did. They did a great job of it. There was no 1-2-3 touchdown, 1-2-3 touchdown, 1-2-3 touchdown. It was couple touchdown and then gone. At the end of the first half, the score was 6-3. You got what you want. You forced it to be a field goal type of game, and that's what you got. Great job by them. So, big win for the Patriots. The Bills, I'm concerned because it feels like, and we said this about the Kansas City Chiefs, we've said this about any team. It can't be this quarterback, in the case of the Bills, it's Josh Allen. But Josh Allen, save us because we can't do anything on defense. It can't be that way. Sometimes your offense isn't going to show up. Sometimes your defense isn't going to show up. You got to be able to carry the slack in some of those games. But the Bills defense isn't holding up their end of the when it's 2 weeks where your defense doesn't show up and you're having Josh Allen try to make the game saving plays. In this game, he could not. And that's why you lost. You lost this game because Josh Allen could not carry all 11 people on that defense to a win. And that offense was not good. And this happens every year with the Bills. At some point, we have a game where Josh Allen doesn't play well, or the offense doesn't play well, or the defense doesn't play well. Remember last year against Houston? In Houston, where they went and played awful for like majority of the game, and then the Texans are down. They punt the ball away. They pin the Bills inside their own 10-yard line. And then all of a sudden, the Bills decide we're going to drop back and throw 3 passes. Even though the Texans really can't stop the clock. I think they could only stop it one time. So why? With a Josh Allen that was also probably concussed, probably should not have been able to play. He goes out there, he throws 3 passes, incomplete, incomplete, incomplete. They punt the ball back to the Texans. The Texans get a great return. and they get their kicker in to win the game. And that's what happened. It's bad decision making. This was a bad decision making game for Josh Allen for this offense. But this defense did not help at all either. All things can be true, but not a good performance by the Bills. For the Patriots, now you found yourself at 3-2. You go on the road to New Orleans. You're favored by 3.5. Here's the issue, and this is the only issue I have, because I think the Patriots are going to win this game. Don't overlook them. This could be a trap game for the Patriots. The was a big time win. That could be considered your Super Bowl. I know the Patriots have had a lot of success in their history. They obviously know this is not a Super Bowl, but this feels like a Super Bowl. You beat the unbeatable. It's kind of like beating Kansas City when you haven't beaten Kansas City. It was you beat the unbeatable. That was kind of what happened. So don't overlook the Saints, is my saying. Don't overlook them. This could be a trap game. The Saints, they won last week too. They beat the Giants. First win for both Kellen Moore and Spencer Rattler. So congratulations to those men. But that's something the Saints have that the Patriots don't. The Patriots face the Bills, and the Bills do not have that speed threat. That's something you have to talk about. So I do have the Patriots winning. I'm concerned about if I'm the Saints, like obviously try to get Raheem Shaheed down the field. Try to get Alvin Kamara down the field in passing situations, and then see how this Patriots defense responds. I'm concerned about the Patriots pass defense, but they played really well against Buffalo. I have no gripe about that. I have the Patriots winning 28-14, but I actually think it's going to be quite an interesting game. Next up, we have the Cowboys. Now let's talk about what is going on in this Cowboys game. Actually, hang on. Let's do the stars of Week 5 for the Patriots. I was talking to Lucas about this. He said he liked how the defense played. He liked how Drake May played. He ended up giving the star to Stephon Diggs, but he wanted to give it both to Drake May and Stephon. Really, if there was ability to be co-stars, they would go to Drake May and Stephon Diggs. Diggs had a revenge game of revenge games. He didn't look like he was back in Buffalo. He looked like he was back in Minnesota. He had 146 yards and 8 catches. No touchdowns, but 146 yards and 8 catches. It's an awesome game. And it's returned to Orchard Park. Drake May looked unbelievable. He was doing Josh Allen things that even Josh Allen wasn't able to do in this game. I would have given it also to the defense. The defense, if it was co-stars, that's how it would have gone. It would have gone Diggs, May, and then Patriot defense. But since it can't, I'll go with Diggs too. But the run defense was really good. Pass defense was really good. Your offense was good. You forced takeaways. You have some takeaways because you turn the ball over too every time Ramondre Stevenson has the ball. It's like a 70% chance he's going to fumble. It's like he goes out there, and before he goes out on the field, he puts butter on his glove sometimes. It's ridiculous. It's just the way he plays. I don't know why. I don't understand why. Now, let's talk about this Cowboys team, which great win against the New York Jets. It was not as close as everyone thought it was. At the end, the end score is indicative. It's not the same. It's not indicative enough. If you watch the game, you saw what this Cowboys defense was doing. They got pressure. For the first time, I remember saying the first play they got pressure. I'm like, oh my gosh, they got pressure on the first play. This is a miracle. What world are we living in? We're living in a different universe. There was no sense it was being made in this game. They had sacks. They had 5 of them. They only had 5 all year. They had 5 sacks in this game. I was losing my mind. They forced a takeaway. They got off the field on 3rd downs. I was like, we're in an unparalleled universe at this point. What is going on? Like this defense actually looked good, which is probably why the Jets looked so bad. But I'll take it. Because I said this early in the year. I said if the Cowboys defense can have 2 games where they look really good and their coverage looks really good, everything looks really good, I'll be quiet about it. They did it against the Jets. Can they do it against the Panthers this week? That's something that needs to be said. I want them to also do it against better competition too. But I digress on that point. Your defense got after Justin Fields. He only had 26 yards rushing, so you got after him. Great. It's awesome. Brees Hall gave up a lot of yards to Brees Hall. That's something that has to be addressed. But you were better on third downs, you forced punts, and your offense made play after play after play. With backup offensive linemen, you had 4 backup offensive linemen in this game. You know how difficult it is to find 4 backup offensive linemen on a roster? Like, that's impossible. No one goes 9 deep. Everyone goes about 8 deep or something like that. The Cowboys went 10, and they needed every one of them because they had to have one backup in the game. Tyler Smith, who was the one active starter, was on the bench because he had tendonitis in his knee, so he was an emergency player if need be. They didn't want to use him. But Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, and Tyler Booker were all out. Terrence Steele was the only one playing. And Terrence Steele has not been the best. But he played great against the Jets. He really did. This offensive line played really well. The run game had 135 yards on the ground from Javonte Williams. Dak Prescott had over 250 yards, over 250 yards passing. He was not, he didn't have the best stats in the world, but he was efficient. They had no Cavante Turpin, no CD Lamb, Miles Sanders. So their kick return game and their punt return game was gone, basically. Their 2 kick return and punt return guys were gone. And you're playing Jaden Blue, who's a rookie, the rookie out of Texas. And then you're playing Jalen Cropper, who's been on the Cowboys team for a while, but as a practice squad player. He was playing. And he was going out for routes because they didn't have anybody. Who led them in catching wasn't George Pickens. George Pickens had a touchdown. I think he had like about 58 yards, or 50 yards receiving anyway. Who led them in receiving? A second-year player from Southeast Missouri State. Who is Ryan Flanoy? That's Ryan Flanoy was your 6th wide receiver. And he was going after it. He was making plays. He had 100 yards in the first half. That shows how much faith the Cowboys have in him and how much faith the quarterback Dak Prescott has in him to go and get Ryan Flanoy the ball. And he was making plays. He was rewarding them. It showcased that, hey, there's something good here. Let's go for it. And Ryan Flanoy played his played the lights. He was awesome. He took the roof right off the building, even though we were in MetLife. But he still played lights out. He was awesome. He was efficient. They moved the ball. Cowboys moved the ball. They were putting. It didn't matter who. Quinn Williams had 1 pressure all night. He had as many pressures as he did penalties. You took the best player on the Jets defense out of the game. Great. For a backup offensive line, that's unbelievable. But in any other situation, that's great. But for backup offensive line, awesome. Great job. Sauce Gardner was following around George Pickens. He did a good job. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. The other side of the field could not cover Jalen Tolbert, Ryan Flanoy, or those guys. And they couldn't stop the run game either. And Jake Ferguson had 2 touchdowns. So they got points. They pushed the ball. They were efficient. They did all the positive things they needed to do. Great job by the Cowboys on that. And like I said, defensively, You got takeaways, you got sacks, you got pressure, you force Justin Fields to be uncomfortable, fix the Breece Hall stuff. If you can do that, the Cowboys defense does not have to be perfect. Can they be middle of the pack? That's all anyone on the Cowboys wants. Any Cowboys fan wants. Just have their defense be the middle of the pack. If they can be a top 20 defense, I will be happy. Can they be top 20 and can they be in the top 20 on third downs? If that's the case, great. Great. That's what the Cowboys want. That's all they want. Can they do it? If so, awesome. Now, if you're the Cowboys, you face Carolina Panthers, who are coming off a win against Miami Dolphins. The Panthers, I believe, had 2 sacks going into that game, had 3 against the Dolphins. So it concerns me about the Dolphins, very much so, in that offensive line, because Tua is getting killed. And this offense isn't very good in Miami either. You couldn't run the ball either. Like, Panthers shut that down completely. But if I'm the Cowboys, can you run the ball against this team? The Dolphins only had 19 yards rushing. Can you run the ball against this team? I think you can. I think your offensive line is better than the Dolphins. Even with the backups, I think they're better. Can you run the ball, be effective, and also help your quarterback out again if you're a defense? You got to be better against the run. That is 100% truth. Bryce Young's not the most athletic guy, but he can move a little bit. He can run around a little bit, but he's not Justin Fields. He's not Jalen Hurts, but he can move around. So you keep an eye on him as much as you can. But stop Rico Dowdle, who had 206 yards against the Dolphins, as this is the Rico Dowdle revenge game. You go for the Dolphins, and you look at like the Dolphins were not able to stop Rico Dowdle, and they really couldn't stop Taylor McMillan. So if you're the Cowboys, can you do that? Then and get pressure on Bryce Young defensively, and then offensively keep this pace going where you could run the ball, play action. George Pickens, I believe, will have a big game. And maybe Ryan Flournoy will surprise us again. Who knows? But I have the Cowboys winning this game. It's going to be a weird game. It's always going to be weird games with the Cowboys because I don't know how good this defense is. I have them winning 28-20, but I wouldn't be surprised if Panthers start to make it a game late because they're getting more conservative on defense. But let me know in the comments who you have winning this week. And also, grade the Patriots' performance against the Buffalo Bills. A, B, C, or D. Let me know in the comments. For World and the What to Play podcast, I'm Jacob Hebert. Out.